Let's start with number 1. If x and y are real numbers such that x is greater than 1 and y is less than -1, then which of the following inequalities must be true? So your goal here is to make this a little bit more concrete. If x is greater than 1, you could pick any number that's bigger than 1 for x. And if y is less than -1, you can pick any number for y as long as it's less than -1. Using those values, go ahead and see which of these inequalities must be true. Try it on your own to start with. All right, so let's take a look at how we could approach this problem. And remember, process of elimination is going to be a big part of this process. Taking a look at the answer choices, the first thing I'd like to do is go ahead and simplify the answer choices for C and D. I think that's just going to make it easier in the long run. So what I mean by simplify is on C, I could add 5 to both sides, and those -5s actually cancel out. So our answer choice for C is saying x over 3 is greater than y over 3. Much easier to work with than the original answer choice. I'm going to do the same thing for answer choice D. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and then those 1s get canceled out. So our actual answer choice for D is x squared is greater than y squared. Again, much easier to use than the actual answer. Not a completely necessary step, but I always find it to be pretty helpful. All right, so going back to picking values that meet the criteria. So x has to be greater than 1. So let's say that x is equal to 2. And then y has to be less than -1. So let's say y is equal to -2. We're going to use these values going through each of the answer choices and seeing which ones would be true and which ones would be false. So taking a look at A, if I plug in my x and y values, that would give me 2 over -2 is greater than 1. In other words, if I simplify my first fraction, that's saying -1 is greater than 1, which we know is not true. Let's eliminate A. Taking a look at B, if I plug in my x and y values, that would mean that I have the absolute value of 2 squared is greater than the absolute value of -2. In other words, that's saying 4 is greater than 2. That's a true statement, so we're going to leave B in the running. Looking at C, using my new answer choice the way I've rewritten it, I'm going to plug in the x and y values. 2/3 is greater than -2/3. That's also true, so C remains as one of our possible answer choices. Plugging in x and y for D in our new rewritten answer, we would have 2 squared is greater than -2 squared. In other words, 4 is greater than 4. That's not true. Let's eliminate D. On E, we have some negative exponents, and so just as a reminder, I'm working through this just mathematically, but you can also plug this into your calculator at any point. So if you don't like those negative exponents, you can use your calculator. So plugging in 2 for x and -2 for y, that would result in 1/4 is greater than 1/4. Again, that is not a true statement, so we're eliminating E as well. So now we're between B and C. If you're running short on time on the actual ACT, now would be a good time to just guess between the two of them. But since we have plenty of time working on this challenge, let's go ahead and try to figure out the actual answer. So what I'm going to do now is actually pick a new value for y. So I'm going to write this down here. I'm going to use x equals 2 still, but now I'm going to say y equals -5. Notice that that still meets the original criteria that were given in the problem. And I'm going to plug these values into answer choices B and C until I can eliminate one of them. So let's look at answer choice B again. So we have the absolute value of x, which would be the absolute value of 2 squared, and we're going to see if that's greater than the absolute value of y. So if I simplify this, this gives me 4 is greater than 5, which is not true. So now we can eliminate B, leaving C as our correct answer.